All right, it is indeed time for the Fluffle to assemble. Welcome to the Rabid Atheist Show. I'm your host, Ed Rabia, former pastor turned atheist, now compassionate anti-atheist. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to the Rabid Nation. Whether you are a paid-for citizen or whether you are just a tourist walking around who's just subscribed, or whether you are just looking across the border, wondering whether or not to emigrate to such a wonderful nation as the Rabid Nation, welcome one and all. Welcome, one and all. Welcome to Deconversion Hangout on a Thursday. And the topic for today that we'll start with is, how do you deal with the death of others as an atheist, or the subject of death? It comes up quite often when people deconvert. So there you go. I kind of love that intro too, Earl. There she is. The wonderful, lovely, beautiful, outstandingly smart, the lap in which our Lord naps, the author of the intro. I killed Earl, one of the smartest women I know. But I love that intro too. It's a great intro. A couple other announcements before we get into the meat of the subject of today's discussion. Let's see. Yes, there is a goal in chat. That helps keep my streams ad-free. Always good stuff there when I keep my streams ad-free. So at least until the stream's over, and then I turn the ads back on for those of you who watch later. The goal keeps that there. And I will wear whatever hat is chosen by the poll if the goal is reached for the rest of the stream. The Discord link is in the description of this particular video if you want to join if you want to join a wonderful community. Programming announcements. Tomorrow, I will be reviewing another inspired philosophy video on the Gospels. That'll probably be the last one I'll do live, because I'm going into a series where I'm going to address him. So we'll make sure that we do that properly with a good video series. But I did want to take a look at him again. And this one is about the time frame of the Gospels. He contends that they're early, and I'm going to disagree with that. So we will look at that. And after that, there'll be a series of videos back and forth between editorials, book reviews, and a series I'm working on called All the Gospels. So I'm going to take a look at all those other Gospels outside the four. So kind of doing my own research and looking into that stuff. So that's kind of the programming notes. I think that's it. So the question for today is, how do you deal with the death of the others as an atheist? What brought up this topic for me, as many of you probably know, when I talk about deconversion stuff, it's usually personally related. And so I'll get into that in a minute, but I should do a roll call first, and I need to make some highlights too. Fred was here. Fred, I don't know what you people are going to do. Fred says he has an opinion on this subject. I know that's so rare. And Earl, you get another bow from Fred. Like he should use the emojis more, because he says they're such fun. Professor Shizzle is here. Dragon Rider is here. Of course, Earl is here. Michael is here. Desperately needed a cookie. Okay, there you go. The elder gods have graced us with their emissary. Well, the reason I got into this is some of you know, and this question is always pertinent. Questions on Deconversion Hangout are usually pertinent to me as well as anybody deconverting. My mom's been in the hospital for over a month, and I have had a great deal of difficulty visiting her. I actually had to talk to my therapist about this yesterday. Because right now she's in a rehab nursing home kind of situation. And so I go in there, and unfortunately as a minister, I had a lot of bad experiences in nursing homes, particularly with death and dealing with the death of others. I, of course, had my own father's death that I had to deal with, but I should probably tell the story, I guess, so you set the context. But when I was in my first church where I was a senior pastor, I would go to the hospital a lot. Um, and my mom's going to be okay. She's going to be all right. But I just have trouble going to the nursing homes. I just do. And it's because of past experience. But she's coming home in a week. She's rehabbing very well. The surgery went well. So she's doing fine. It's just she's 85 and she's very frail, and all of us are getting used to that. Um, but when I was in my first church, I went into the hospital a lot because I had a lot of members of my congregation and other people that were older. And I don't know, it was a very interesting comment. Yeah, it is depressing. Uh, it's even more depressing for me. I got a reputation as being the angel of death because I would be the last person a lot of people would see before they died. I had three situations in that church where I literally held the hand of somebody as they died. And so part of my deconversion is actually realizing how fruitless any thoughts of an afterlife are in those moments. But those memories stick with me. And one of them was very interesting because it was somebody I didn't even know. Like we sit here and talk about remembering people after they're dead. We talk about dealing with people after they're dead. But in this particular case, I was called into the room by the nurse. I was a much younger man then, and much more fundamentalist in my outlook. And they called me in and said, um, yeah, don't take the scythe with you. That's probably not a good idea. Although some people might appreciate that. Some people might get that a laugh out of that at the end. But I didn't even know this person. And the nurse said, "Hey, can you come in here and talk to this guy? He wants somebody to talk to. He's not doing very well and all that." And I went in, I talked to him a little bit, and he didn't have all of his family members. Like he was the youngest kid. So all of his brothers and sisters were dead. His parents were dead. You know, he hadn't gotten married, so he didn't really have anybody. Most of his relatives kind of forgot that he existed. Most of his friends, all of his friends were dead. So he had nobody in there in the room with him. And he just wanted me to sit with him. And so I sat with him, prayed for him. You know, I was still a minister at the time, prayed for him, prayed with him. But then I'm holding his hand, and he said, "Hey, I'm going to take a nap." And that's the last words he said, because within 2 minutes, I was holding his hand, just staying there, and I could feel it. Like, if you've ever been in that situation, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You feel it when the life leaves a person. And I've had that happen to me 3 times in my life. The other two were congregation members where it's happened. And I that first church, it was so often I was the last person. You know, I felt like Joe Black, you know. It's like, I mean, God damn, you know. And that's why to this day, I have trouble going into nursing homes and hospitals. And so I've been having problems going visiting my mom. Yeah. It's like every time it's like, eh. And so this keeps coming up. Like, how do you deal when it's other people? Like, my own death, I'm pretty comfortable with. Um, because it's like, yeah, I'll have the same feelings about it that I had before I was born, you know, like that, none at all. Like, you know, sweet oblivion kind of thing. Me and Samuel Clemens are kind of in agreement on that. The sweet oblivion of death someday. But um, it, nah, I guess I am at ease with it in a lot of ways, but I don't know. Now hospitals, nursing homes kind of creep me out. Like I don't want to experience that any more than I have to. Okay, because it's a good experience in certain senses, because it's like you realize the finality of life and how that works. And but at the same time, it's like to be there, it's kind of, you know, jarring. People say, well, doesn't that cause you to convert back to Christianity or something? No, not really. because the two other situations that I did that, the woman was absolutely in pain, and none of her family could handle being there with her. She was in so much pain and writhing around and everything. And the only thing that would calm her down is me holding her hand. And then she would look at my hand holding hers and she could calm down. And yeah, she died while I was holding her hand too. um, there was just so much grief and loss and all that stuff. And I think it's a valid point, Michael, that I'm at ease with it, but it's not something I want to experience over and over. But I've had to deal with that. And what do you do with other people's deaths? How do you remember them? How do you do all that stuff? I know it's kind of a morbid topic today. I know in Deconversion Hangout we can always switch the topic as we go to something more cheerful, but it's something that I know people deconverting deal with. Like, they've lost loved ones. How do they remember them? What do they do? Like, they don't believe you're going to see them in an afterlife again. So what do you do with their loss? What do you do with their death? And it's like, okay, it's, it's one of those things. Yeah, yeah, okay, yeah. So Fred's been there too. Um, Everything changes. Like, I don't know. If the thing that taught me most, Fred, was how fragile life is. Like, it's we all have this idea somewhere in our brain that we're immortal and we're going to live forever, but it just doesn't work that way. And you have an experience like that, and you definitely know. So, but it's like, how do I deal with other people's deaths? Like, my own, I'm like comfortable with. Like, I won't have any feelings about it after all after I'm dead. So it's like there's a peace and a lack of fear anymore of death. Like, not like I had when I was a theist. When I was a theist, um, being afraid of dying and at the wrong time and facing God and all that other stuff that I now put in the realm of mythology, uh, I think I think it becomes more easy to deal with one's own death. But when other people around you that you love and care for and all that stuff uh, die, it's a little bit different. It's a little bit different. So I think the question is, how to know there are some people you won't be able to see ever again. Yes, relatively soon. Yes, when I dealt with my father's death finally after deconverting, it was a great experience, Michael, because in a certain place, like, the problem I had with faith is it kind of stops up your grieving process because there's certain things that you have to do to grieve properly, and one of them is acceptance. When you get to that part of the process, and I think afterlife beliefs kind of interfere with that. Like, they don't allow you to um, have that. Like, they don't allow you to really truly accept the death of the person. So, but yes, learning that you'll never see them again, that's important. Dragon around. I say, I had to deal with the death of my dad 5 years ago as an atheist, so I have experience. Basically, matters a lot, especially the first few weeks. Make sure you eat, drink, take care of yourself. Yes, like, those are good practical things to consider, because psychologically, I don't think we're ever ready for it. So yeah, um, it's it's important to remember that as you're going through the process, that there's a normal grieving process, and you have to take your time, be patient with yourself, make sure you're taking care of yourself. Um, it's a different kind of feeling. There's like always that hole in your life where somebody was like this important thing, um, and then it disappears. They're gone, and so the conversations stop. The having fun stops. The other stuff stops, except in memory. Like, now it's reduced to memory instead of real life things. So, Kingsburg, both my parents eventually die within the next 10 years or so, and I'm certainly thinking about making sure to spend time with them and leave nothing unfinished. Yes, I think that's the most positive thing about being an atheist, dealing with other people and their potential death, is realizing that if you're going to say something, you need to say it while they're alive. If you're going to spend time with them, spend time with them when they're alive. Like it's a much better viewpoint, because I think I've watched theists like, oh, well, we're all going to heaven, so I'll spend time with them later. Like, no, that's not going to happen. Like, it's, the experience of life is here and now. Like, you got to put a lot more effort into here and now. And I don't know that most people do that. I don't think that they understand how important that is. If you have an afterlife belief, you're always like, oh, I can always do this later. Like, I can always spend time with my parents later. And I think we have an advantage because we hold life precious. We understand how rare it is. We understand how, fragile our relationships really is in the light of it. And so we spend more time with people. Or contrary wise, like if you have a real bad relationship with somebody, you're like, life's too short and too precious for me to be dealing with this bullshit. Okay. Like, I think there's another opposite, like you want your life to be better and you want your relationships to be good ones. So there's that aspect of it. So, yeah. So my father hurt, but at least he isn't suffering anymore. That's also my first funeral I ever attended. When my mom died when I was young, wasn't mentally ready to attend a funeral. Yep. Yeah. I've had experience of that too. But yeah, like she's not suffering anymore. I think that's one of the things I deal with. That she's not suffering anymore. Like if you're a theist, like you're a Christian theist, okay, and you believe that this person who's died is a reprobate, you have to believe that they're either annihilated or roasting in hell. And how does that work? Um, but if you're an atheist, it's like, okay, they're not suffering anymore. They're not going to continue to suffer forever. There's a finality to it that actually is very peaceful and hopeful in a lot of ways, at least for yourself. And bake a chocolate again run like my grandma used to make, and take the time while I bake to think of her. Yeah, like, oh, that is a great ritual, actually. Like that's a good one, Michael. Doing something that the person you miss did. Um, Honestly, like my dad was a big hunter and all that stuff. That's what he liked to do, and it's the only thing that's caused me to think about taking that back up again, other than buying a freezer and filling it with meat for the winter, but to make my life cheaper. But um, no, there's a lot of other things he used to do that I still do, and I remember them when I do them. So but that's a great ritual, Michael. I can absolutely get behind that. Like, take your time, bake the cake, think of your grandma. What a great one! I may do that. My grandma made great pies, so maybe I'll do that with a pie sometime. COVID took her, and she was covered in. Oh shit! Yeah, COVID. I'm so sorry to hear that, Native. Like that. Yeah. So it's that, but I think, see, that's the other part. Like, your mom doesn't have any bad feelings about that at all. Okay, like she's gone, and so she has no bad feelings about it at all. She doesn't think poorly of you. Like any of all the things that people go through, whatever you can think of, she doesn't have that. Like it's done. It's over. I think there's such a peace to finality that I don't think a lot of believers have. So, death is a sad thing. People waste their life. They're looking for some way out of dying that just isn't there. At least half the reason gods were conceived. Yeah. 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 I'm very sorry, Native. And the rest of us can join you in that, man. That's just rough. Like, that would rip me up, because I'm very fond of my mother, and if I couldn't see her or be with her, I'd be like, yeah, no. That would just be rotten. That just sucks. Um, yeah. Um, Go different ways. My atheist grandmother was a celebrate. We had smoking liquor. All right. See, I think that's the thing I would do to remember people that I cared about, Michael, is like remember the stuff that we used to do together and do that again. Like, and just imagine them being there. Like, I think that's so cool when people do that kind of stuff. And if you're a theist, though, like a fundamentalist Christian, that would not be an option. You can't have smoking and liquor. You can't do that. You can just go hike along. I think that's what I do. I think that's why I hike. I think that's probably a good alternative. I need to get back into walking in the woods. Just I may take that back up in the fall. I love walking in the woods in the fall when the trees start turning colors and all that stuff. So yeah, I think that's might be a good option. Peace of me, my ex-grandmother in the hospital. I want to remember her as a spunky, sassy, always beautiful, coffee woman, and not the frail husk she was covered in tubes. Yeah, I have had that debate about that with my mom. And I think that's the other problem I have visiting her, because every time I visit her now in the hospital, there's such a reminder of the woman she no longer is. She was very active, full of life. She was always doing something, gardening, cooking. She was a medical technologist, so there was a time she was the manager of the local hospital lab. Um, just really doing a lot of stuff, being active, et cetera, et cetera. And she's not that anymore. And I can see it's killing her, like I can see that and there's a part of me that I absolutely get what you're saying. Like, you want to remember the person as this, not as that. So I get it. Absolutely get it. I may have to come to that kind of decision myself at some point. Uh, okay. Yeah. See, this is the way to think about this, is like, okay, how do I do that? So there's that. But yeah, do hot pink, do red, wear something that they enjoyed. Not afraid to there. I just don't want to be there when it happens. Yes, I think it's pretty much all of us. It's not so much death that bothers me and being dead. It's the process of getting there. Yeah. Thing with death as an atheist is the same as it for theists. It depends on how much you like the deceased. You may have a point, Greg. Yeah, that is a little bit funny to me. I used to get through funerals as a pastor with a lot of gallows humor. Otherwise, I'd have gone mad probably. But it just theists are interesting in that they will find weird ways not to dislike people, or like them. And so it's like, I knew when we'd have a funeral in the church, um, I could tell who liked the person who didn't by where they sat, how close they were to the casket. Um, there was also like different things that they would say when they remember people that really had fond feelings, that had no problem speaking up and remembering the person. Others, the rest of them, like, yeah, I'm glad that asshole's gone, but maybe Jesus can deal with him, kind of thing. And then there were other people that were just like, yeah. Uh, so yeah, but like it just you have a good valid point. Like, people decide how to deal with it depending on whether they liked or did. So so yeah. I got her wood away for 15 years. It was pretty, and my aunt took care of her at home. Kudos to her. She sacrificed a lot. Mm, starts when you were born. Yeah, but yeah, when I did funerals, I've lost track of how many funerals I did as a pastor. It was a lot. I was see because pastoring for the last 20, 30 years has been to congregations getting progressively older. Like, there's hardly any young people in church anymore. Um, and so doing funerals was far more numerous. So, far more numerous than anything else I did. And I still have some funny stories from that, like the one funeral home director who, his ringtone was "Another One Bites the Dust" by Queen. I'm like, really, dude? And he said, "Oh, you want a funny story with that?" He said it went off one time during a funeral because I forgot to shut it off. So, So, but yeah, so there you go. I had all kinds of stuff like that. There, funeral home directors have very, very funny stories from time to time, and I can understand it because I deal with that every single day, and I don't know how they do it. Like, there's something about that dealing with people and all that stuff, and trying to be respectful and all that. So it's funny, but yes, but yeah, it's just been very funny. Like, you had oh my gosh, but then I've had some hard ones too. So the one I did for a 10-year-old boy was hard. That one was tough. So, um, because I wanted to put him in heaven, but now I look back at it and I'm like, I think we should enjoy the life that was here. You know, great kid, lively, lively, all that stuff. So, let's see, my ex grandmother was ready to go. She wouldn't have remembered who I was anyway, so I don't see the point of crowding the room. I only met her a handful. Yeah, like, I think that's legit. That's not a problem. I don't have a problem with that as an atheist looking at it. Like, if you don't really know the person just because they're family doesn't mean. I mean, it's a respectful thing to do to kind of maybe help the other members of your family that did, maybe, but I've gone to funerals not because of the person, but I've gone there because of the person that know the person that I cared about them. So, yes. I was wondering if there are any atheist funeral directors, officials, or yes, there are actually. Um, yeah, yeah, there is an atheist officiant. You can find them. You just have to look around. People have asked me to do it, and I'm like, I have deconversion issues with that. Like, I think it would remind me too much of my, and I would absolutely be fearful of slipping up and going back into the rote memorized stuff I had for weddings and funerals and stuff, and I just don't want to do it. It's just too many memories for me. But yes, there are some out there. Like, you can find them. Um, but you got to look around. Yes, hit the like. I appreciate that. Do all the YouTube things. Make this stream go bigger. So it's been a typical deconversion hangout where you get a slow burn of people. You refused to swear in the Bible when I got married. You did? Well, there you go. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, there are secular officiants. You could go here in the United States. In some states, you could probably go to the justice of the peace and ask for a non-religious wedding too, as well. I think you could do that. I'm just thinking about transferable skills. Yeah, no. Everybody suggests that to me, Michael, from time to time. You could be an officiant. I'm like, I don't want to do that. Like, I have problems. So I was almost gone, and then I hung in the last third of her life for 15 more years. Yeah, some people do that. They refuse to die. Got to give them credit. Over more funeral would organize based on the needs of the mourners, not on their own link. Don't have a lot of experience though. I wish I could say that pastors are respectful of the beliefs of the individual, but I absolutely know that that's not necessarily the case. They don't. You could. I always felt that the beliefs of the deceased should be respected, even though they weren't there. It's like the last thing you can do for them is respect their beliefs. Um, so, shit, go find a constitution for you to swear on. Actually, I think I would probably do that. I think if I have to ever swear into office again, I would probably use the Constitution instead. Um, but yeah, like, I wish I could say that's true, but I watched too many pastors and preachers when they would go in and somebody was like an atheist or a reprobate according to them or whatever. They would take it as an opportunity to preach the gospel to a captive audience. So there's some preachers in my town that have a reputation for doing that. Like, they what you end up doing is, doing your ministry, preaching the gospel, being an evangelist, and then the person that's the funeral is for gets totally forgotten. I wish I could say that theists are respectful of the wishes of the deceased and the family, but that just never happens. Like pastors have a tendency to, this guy is roasted in hell right now, and you want to avoid that. You don't want to be where he's at. I've actually heard that at a funeral. So, yeah, if you're going to pick an officiant for your funeral, you might want to take a long look at that ahead of time. Well, yeah, it can be. Yeah. I mean, it didn't take as long as I thought it was. Oh, I'm mostly late. Hey, Fluffle. It's good to see you, Evan. Yeah, preachers are going to preach. Like, so here it depends. We have a church and city state center, so strict rules on how to deal with the deceased or even the ashes. There are plenty of secular options. Yeah, like we'll get there. It may take a few more decades. We'll get there. I'd laugh and say, "Oh boy, I'm glad they're rotting in the ground. Hail Satan." That's just a parody, yes. But yeah, I know too many ministers that when I was a pastor, they would take funerals as an opportunity to preach the gospel to a captive audience, and I always found that very disrespectful. The problem with doing things the way I did it, respecting the deceased wishes and the family's wishes, I got a lot more invites because people wanted that and not what other people did. It's just hilarious. You're not allowed to take the urn home? Yeah. Well, let's see. I live in Michigan. I know that there's a special law in Michigan that you're not allowed to pour ashes into the Great Lakes. That's a law. So I've lost track of how many times I've seen that violated. So, like, I think my uncle's funeral, his daughters violated that big time. They like went right out on the edge of the dump. What are they going to do? But yeah. All funerals, in my experience, I've seen one exception. It's disrespectful. I mean, it's only one way it is respectful is because most people were devout and wanted that kind of thing, but it's just not right. Why not honor the life? Yeah, like I guess I was different as a pastor. I would always try to let's talk about the person that's dead, like what we remember and what they accomplished and some of the things that they did. And I had some pretty cool people that I did funerals for. Like they were like doctors, not just doctors either. Like they pioneered certain medical procedures. I had one guy, that's what he did. I can't, he's like a surgeon, and he had created some procedures and some equipment that made surgery better. Like he had been part of that, and that was kind of cool. A couple professors, that taught various subjects over the years, and it was just cool to talk about them. And others were just like, yeah, he was drinking beer and just keeled over. It's kind of his life, drinking beer. So, there's one legal option for sea on the Baltic Sea. Yeah, see, like the Great Lakes, Michigan. I don't know if the states around us do that too, but like a lot of people want their ashes poured in the Great Lakes, because if they live here, and there's like a law that says you can't do it. You can get a fine for it, like a pretty hefty one too. So, but people still do it. So, amateur professor. Yeah, as opposed to the professors. Yeah. No. But yeah, the thing is, Evan, like when you do a funeral, amateur professors. Oh my gosh, this is why I keep you around, Evan. The puns are great. So they don't find you; they find your family. They find who does it. Like if I were to take the ashes of my mother and pour them in the Great Lakes, they'd find me for doing it. I'm the criminal, not them. So yes, more pun points. But yes, like they will. They if they catch you doing it, uh, they will fine you. So that's where the 11th commandment comes in: don't get caught. So 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 there you go. There you go. Yeah, I don't know the person you lies in that way. All a pastor can do is help a person repent, dirty sinner. That's why I remember there was a trend in funerals, Blossom, that I read about a while ago, where the officiant of a funeral is changing from a religious figure in some cases to somebody who actually knows the person. Now, a lot of people say that's very hard, but if you're doing a memorial service a month later, which is what a lot of people are starting to trend to do to make sure everybody can be there and gets plenty of notice and all that stuff, um, they often have officiants that are just people that knew the person and could speak about them authoritatively. So, like they were, like a work colleague or somebody that's willing to do it. That's I've seen that trend in funerals as well. So, I'd almost rather want that, like somebody who knows me can speak of me. And I know that might be hard if they have like feelings and all that stuff, but I always feel like it it leads to a discussion I had a long time ago. I was reviewing a clip from Shannon Q and Paula Gia where they were talking to this nurse about how religion was so prevalent and pastors were being called in to deal with people that were dying and stuff like that. And she was like, they don't even have any qualifications. Like, so it's like there is a movement to get people that actually know about this stuff to handle it instead of pastors and preachers. So I can see that. So there you go. How do you ever not handle funerals? If I had a Catholic friend back in my college explain that cremation, yeah, like there are certain aspects of Protestantism that also don't allow cremation because God can't put that back together again. He can't just add water and replace the person. Like, we can't do that. See, there's more gallows humor for you. You don't want to be cremated in certain religions because God just can't add water, like, and solve the dehydration problem. You just can't do that. So you got married by a Tennessee mayor. That's a perfectly legit thing too. Like the mayor, justice of the peaces. You have secular officiants for stuff in county halls and things like that. So it's perfectly acceptable. So yeah, like see, that's why I want to be cremated. So I joked with my daughter. I said, "Okay, I'm going to make a small replica of a Viking ship. You're going to cremate me ahead of time, put my ashes inside of that, and then set it on fire and send it out into the Great Lakes." So that way you're not dumping my ashes in the Great Lakes. You're just setting a boat on fire. I don't know if that's illegal. So we're actually in Disneyland. Yeah, Disneyland doesn't allow it, but people do it anyway. So yeah, postmortem isn't a bad idea. No, it's not. I think I've gone to a lot of memorial services, Blossom, that were like a month later. It gives people time to kind of deal with the early stages of grief and really you get one of the things I noted as a pastor when I had that happen, when you ask people to come up and talk about the deceased, you get a lot more participation in that. And I think that's a good thing. I never rush a funeral. You just don't do that. You always make sure that's the last thing you're doing in the day. Like, and when you have people have time to deal with the early stages of disbelief and they're starting to like come to terms with it, you usually get better participation. It's a month later isn't a bad idea. Also, like if there's people that live all over the country, they can make plans to be there and guarantee you get more participation. So it works better in my opinion. So a month each later because the family's get yeah, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. Like it's so yeah, you made out of mud. I don't get it, Earl. Like Yahweh can make a man out of mud, but for some reason, the Catholic Church and several other churches don't think that God can just add water to the ashes and reconstitute the person. I think it's perfectly good for shipping. Like saves a lot of space. Like I don't like processions that are done in the South. They're dangerous and disrupt traffic. And many of us say it's illegal to be in possession of line if you're not in the funeral group. Yeah, like what they do in New Orleans, because they have the walking processions down Bourbon Street. I think that's kind of cool, but in some ways, but I can see where it's a pain in the ass. Like here, cars in a line for a funeral get the little flag, and everybody's supposed to stop and let them go by. Like they're not supposed to interrupt. So I want to be cremated. Oh yes. Some of the story experience with her different perspectives. My nephew almost knew her as a vegetable and was really grateful for that. Yeah. My folks specifically aqua cremation in their will because they want to be cremated but wanted to figure out something eco-friendly after expressing concerns about eco-friendliness. Oh, okay. I can see that. You like that one, Earl? Like, everybody who loved her had something to say and get up and say it. Really worked. Yeah, I mean, I've done a few funerals as a pastor where I didn't say much. Like I opened the thing with a verse of scripture and a quick word, and then I had 6 people talk about the deceased, and those were better funerals, in my opinion. I was just kind of the guy, master of ceremonies, so to speak, and I love those funerals better because I learn a lot. Like if you don't know something about the person and you're doing the funeral as an officiant, it's a great way to learn about the person. And so when you get up there last to close things out, you can kind of retell some of the stories, and it's good stuff. It's good stuff. Yeah, I know. it you got these processions. Like my problem looking at my mother in the future is that my dad is buried about an hour drive from here. He's buried in the family cemetery down south a ways. And in order to do what my mom wants, we're going to have this long funeral procession that goes for like an hour drive, and we're going to absolutely piss a lot of people off. So, so I guess. Uh, I honestly, Fred, I think that's part of what led to my deconversion because I always thought other pastors were so rude. Like this is supposed to be about the deceased, not even really about Jesus, even if they were a Christian. Like if you wanted to talk about how great churchgoer they were, what a servant of God they were, yeah, sure. But to me, this person isn't going to be around anymore, and this is our last chance to say something nice about them if they were good. So I was good with that. Like I always wanted to be a good human being first, I guess. And I loved I loved the funerals where the memorial service where it was like a month later. Those were good ones. So I'm Rabbit Shepherd. Oh, you know how I feel about that, Michael. Not hug a tree, help a tree grow. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Like it was actually to my grandmother's funeral because she specifically hated the people that just got up and eulogized singing the life. And that's exactly what folks did for her funeral. I was like, I know she's gone, but she would have flipping hated this. Yeah. Yeah. Like that's once again, going back to some of the original points, like you got to respect the wishes of the deceased and the family in that order. Deceased first, then the family. Like if the deceased doesn't make anything there, then you go with the family. So yeah, if she would have hated that, I would have been like, I would have taken that into account and done something else. Like I always had that conversation with people that were dying. Like, okay, this is what I want at my funeral, and don't let my family do this. If they said that, I would bring that up if the family wanted to do it. So, oh, I'm sure it did. Like, if that's not what they want, then don't do that. Okay. So, although there is the old argument that I heard some family members make to their soon to die people is like, yeah, you're going to be dead. What are you going to do about it? So, what are you going to do about it? But it was like, I don't know. I think it's a good last act of humanity to respect what the person wanted. I think that's a decent human thing to do. And somebody, Jaron DeWitt, who was on Dr. Phil because he impersonated police during funeral processions and was verbally abusive towards those he was trying to remove from the Dragon Rider people. Yeah, there's an argument to be made that it's about the living and not the dead, but I think you can find a way to do both. Like in that particular case, here's what you could have done. And I've seen this done. You could say, okay, they don't want all these testimonials from the people where everybody gets up in front. So we're going to have a regular kind of funeral service where the pastor does most of the speaking or the officiant. But what you could do for people that wanted to remember, and I've seen this a couple of times, is after the funeral's over, you could still have something like that for the living. You also, one other thing I saw was somebody asked people to write down their memories of the person, and then they ended up putting it into like a scrapbook and keeping it as a memento. There's ways to do things. So like you got to show a little imagination sometimes. So there you go. Foreign police officers started doing processions again because that's what does. This wouldn't be happening. Okay. Oh my god. Oh yeah, yeah. It's people. I don't. I've been listening to like several YouTubers who like talk about people who have a crash out or do silly, stupid, evil things, and their commentary on it is comedy gold sometimes because it's like, what are these people thinking? Like, why do they do these kind of things? And I just don't understand why somebody would do that. Like, there's a time and place to being stand up for something or you have some, but using somebody else's platform like a funeral to make a point or be an asshole, I think I have a problem with that. Maybe I try to be a decent human being. So, yeah, it's balance. Oh, here, let me get this one. It's balance. The living, sure, but it should be the spirit of the deceased. Correct. That's probably a great way to put it, Michael. Like what Ed said, it would be way better to actually honor the memory and be there with each other. We're going to honor her memory by doing the opposite. Yes. Sweating profusely in Ohio. I'm sweating slightly in Michigan. Thankfully, my air conditioning seems to be handling the apartment since I made the decision not to open windows and get the breeze through. Temperature seems to be holding better. Because sometimes it's nice out. I want fresh air, but it seems to make the temperature go up. Drives me nuts. This apartment's weird. But yeah, like I think if you're gonna have to find a creative ways to honor somebody. Like I think honoring somebody who died, even as an atheist, is important. I think it's good for the grieving process, especially if you were close to them. Um, I like Michael said earlier, is having that ritual. Like he bakes the same cake that his grandmother bakes, and he takes his time with it so he can remember all the things about her. Those are cool things that are good for your mental health. Um, finding ways to balance what the person would want to respect their memory at the same time, find a way to express your own memories of them. That's a great way. Like, I think the scrapbook idea was great. Like, they didn't want to just have people stand up and do that. They wanted something physical and permanent, and they put it in a book. And then, when people would come over or they'd have family gatherings, they'd break out the book. And they had several, so it was like a family tradition at some point. So, actually, you don't want a tombstone for your enemies to pee on. Oh yeah, like see atheist comments, good to see you. But yeah, like remembering loved ones is important. Like it's part of the grieving process. Like I think I I I really definitely spend time trying to remember my dad. Like I do deliberate things to remember him because it helps. Like it helps my process. Like I am never going to get over his death in a certain way. Like, I don't think people we're really close to in life, we ever really get over it. Okay. Like, it's never, but it is a way to keep your mentality positive. Like if you have positive memories of somebody and remembering them, that keeps your brain staying positive, which is always helpful. So, um, having a memorial service, like allegedly Fred here, like he's donating his body to medical. Fred, are they going to want it? Let's get teaching hospital somewhere be useful. That's fair, Fred. Oh, but are they going to want it? I know some of the things you've done to that body. Is the skeleton the only thing that's still good? Is that why you want that? Like, I don't get me wrong. I think the thought is hilarious of hanging in some classroom as a skeleton from somebody. I would think that was hilarious. Like, I get it. Yeah, and I think this is the thing. Atheist comments. It's memory is important. Now, I know that memory is a slippery thing. It changes. It gets more positive as time goes by, but it also helps us cope with a lot of things. Like we end up using our memories to kind of put ourselves in a better mental state, keep going with life. It's like, it's great. Um, just live there, having them live there. So I know it's good to see you. It's good to lurk. I need lurkers. I don't care if there's 50 people watching the stream and 35 of them are lurking. I'm good with that. I'm down. Remember the animal one gets cussed. Yeah, I think I've noticed that. Like my ex-wife was a farm girl, and I used to do like every summer we'd go down to the family farm, and I'd throw hay for Grandpa, hay and straw and stuff. And you kind of got used to animals dying, not necessarily by like anybody's actions either, because accidents happen. So on a farm, farms are dangerous. You have to be careful. He just wants his boners out in public. Okay, that's fair. You're going to turn my dog into articulate skeleton when he does. He's such an odd little thing. All right, cool. You missed my grandfather, and he was an a-hole, lovably grumpy. Yeah, my grandfather was kind of that too. He had that dry British humor. So, let's see. Hey, Jerry. As an atheist Buddhist, Theravada, I've always had gratitude for the person who passed on, how they impacted my life and reminded me of mortality. Yeah, I think that's kind of been a running theme today. I've had impact of being there as a former minister, holding the hands of the people that died at that moment, and that's impacted me and kind of reminds me of my own mortality and makes me live a little bit better. Like there's a lot of stuff that death has taught me now that I don't believe it. I don't believe in an afterlife, so it makes life much more precious. And when I am with people, I'm more locked in to what's going on than just, because I don't want to miss an experience with them. So yeah, like there's always gratitude for the person and remembering their life. So yeah, that's a beautiful way to put it. Yep. I have enough usable organs left. Heart is damaged goods. The kidneys are whacked. My lungs been smoked out, and I wear glasses. Grab my liver and run. Yeah, I am an organ donor, but I often wonder what's going to be donated. So I have it on my card, so on my license, but it's like, what's going to be left that's good? So by the time that actually takes place, although I've never smoked, so my lungs might still be good. My doctor says I have a strong heart, no murmurs or anything, so I'm good there. So maybe there's something. They don't want my eyeballs. I got too many corrective contact lenses and stuff to mess with that. Same. Yeah, yeah. It's like what's going to be left that's good. Like Oh my gosh. And it was the same 2 hours later, he got his jokes and then, yeah, like, see, the thing about me when I'm dying, Fred, I'm going to appreciate anybody that does humor. Like, I want to be laughing at the end. I don't want to be sad or any of that crap. I think the mortality here thing of understanding that that's the end, it kind of has caused me to like, what kind of attitude do I want to have at the end? Like for myself. And one of those things is like, I want to be laughing. I want to be enjoying life as much as possible. Um, if this is the experience of life that I get, I want the end of it to be as good as much of the rest of it. Like I'll probably be laughing because like, yeah, come get this shit from me now, pal. Like, like so there, yeah. So yeah. So I told you I really hope some friends of my family sing "That's Your Funeral" from Oliver. But you need to put it in there, man. Like if you get a will, like this is how I want my funeral done. Like you can do that. You can make sure that happens. Like if you make sure that happens, it'll happen. Like you got to find a way to do that. But that's hilarious. That's, but yeah, like I could see it. Like there's a lot of things I want done in mine. I'm gonna have to write them down at some point. Yeah, I mean, honestly, Fred, like I know it's depressing for everybody else and probably a little bit for me, but I don't want my last thoughts to be, damn, this sucks. Like, I want it to be laughing at some joke that somebody told or something I thought in my head that's funny. And I'd rather go out that way. Like, at least the last thoughts in my brain are happy ones. Like, I think it may be that way anyway, because I'll probably be remembering people that I love and care for at the time and wishing them nothing but the best for the rest of their life. But there's also a part of me that just wants to laugh it off, like have some humorous moments, to be like Doc Holliday in his last moments where reportedly he said, "Now that's funny." That was were his last words, and he laughed a little bit and then died. It's like that kind of thing. I can live with that. It might be apocryphal, but I like the idea of it. I have no organs left worth having. I lived a hard, fat, drinking, smoking, unhealthy work environments. Yeah, yeah. Here's the thing, and as a guy who's done a lot of funerals, make sure that what you want in it is somewhere in writing, and make sure several people have that writing. Because of like I used to like there was a couple funerals where this is what mom and dad wanted, what mom or dad wanted, and all the kids would come to me. Yeah, we all got the same letter from mom. Like if you do this, I will haunt you from the grave, kind of shit. And and that was why we did the things we did during the funeral. Like it became kind of my script to work with. So there's that aspect of it. So you want Night in Bald Mountain? Oh, that's so cool. Earl, that's so cool. I love that song. I really do. Like, I remember watching, what was it, Fantasia by Disney the first time with that in it, and I'm like, damn, that's cool. Like, so I heard there that you're an adult, then you need a will. I mean, he has a point. Drama over inheritance can be terrible. Yeah, he does have a point. So, yep. Yeah, you too? Okay, cool. I'm not the only one. But yeah, like I don't know, Earl. I would almost want not just the music played, but I think I would want that scene played on a video. Like, like if you've seen that, you know exactly what I'm driving for there. In Deep Space Nine, where Quark hires Garg to assassinate him with the explicit condition of it being instant, thus him never noticing. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, you wouldn't see Garrett coming. Okay, there you go. That's fair. That's a fair assassination attempt. Oh my gosh. At the very least, one body can be used for science, even if the organ. Yeah, like there's stuff. like bodies that are used for medical. I had this happen several times where I was doing a funeral and there was no body, and I'm like, what's up with that? You know, casket's closed. I'm like, is there something wrong with the body that we need a closed casket? And the family would lean over and say, well, actually, there's nothing in that casket. So they donated their body to science, and I wondered what that would go for. But it's also like cadavers for medical students to practice on. It's all kinds of stuff. Like there's when you donate your body to science, there's a lot of options. So they people that have that happen to them, they kind of look at it and see what it would be best for. Like if all you got left is your skeleton, they'll make that. So, yeah, super. Anyone fights when people. Yeah, you want to end the fights. Just make sure you have a very very good night. Yeah. Oh yeah. See, you're picking up what I'm putting down, aren't you? If I was going to do that, Earl, and I'm not sure that's what I would do for me, but yeah, I definitely want a big screen with that on the screen. You know, like this is so. I already wrote the last page of my life book. It reads, "I lived and died content and peaceful. I'm currently still writing the pages of my life." Yeah, like I think that's a great, Jerry. That's great. Like I think that's a really good attitude. Like I'm aiming for just being peaceful and content, and I'm down with that. Like, and I think trying to write the pages of your life to match that ending, that's a big plus for me. So, Gills do what suits them when I die. I don't care about the funeral. Go down to the pub with my friends and have a beer or two in memory of me. There you go. And if that ever happens, why I still know you, Fred. Trust me, for the first time in my life, I'll probably go down to the bar and get a beer. So, well, that's not the first time that it's happened in my life, but it's been a while since I've gone into a bar on purpose. So, funeral crasher, there you go. There you go. Road to Nowhere playing during your funeral, Josh. Good to see you, Josh. Play as slow as possible, but John can't last 639 years. Yeah, I don't think they would do that. So, oh my goodness. Sometimes the body just doesn't look very nice in death. My maternal uncle legit had, dude, my sister's been to body farms. She can't handle it. Okay, yeah. Before they even let my mom see my grandma's body, yeah. Lights cut out, red lights come on. There's a fog machine. Night on Ball starts playing, and then the pallbearers walk your coffee in. Yeah, it is. Earl, you make it. That book. There is a book, some books out there, but you can look this up too on what happens to bodies donated to science. And some of it is a little horrifying, but when you think about it, back in the day, like in the Victorian era, one of the most notorious things that used to happen in dark alleys and bad neighborhoods would people would get killed and then their bodies would be taken to scientists and doctors to practice on. Fresh corpses had a monetary value that criminal element would do. And I don't know, they may still do that. Like it may still be a thing. So, but yeah. Yeah, same. Like if something happens to me, just go down to the pub and have a beer in my memory. I'm down with that. So, but yeah, like it's some of that stuff. But yeah, like it's I just I remember like thinking about it a long time before I put the thing organ donor on my license. So it's right there on my driver's license that I'm an organ donor. So it's like I just remember some of my family members that could have used some organ donors at some point in their life and couldn't find one. So it's more of a personal thing. Caitlin Doherty asked a mortician video on some banana pants things that have happened to bodies that were supposed to be donated to science. Yeah, really? It's the best case. Small percent what happened to bodies. That's the best case scenario, honestly. Okay, fair enough. But there, I'm just I think it's very interesting. It's just very interesting. The the whole idea that science needs bodies to kind of study. It's interesting. Yeah, you need to be informed. All right. Yeah, like I know. I remember watching a documentary where forensic scientists had bodies donated to them, and they would bury them in different conditions or put them in different conditions to see what those conditions had an effect on the body, so that when they discovered stuff in the field, they could learn stuff and know certain things about the conditions in which that happened. So I know there's some good stuff that happens to bodies, but I'm sure there's some stuff. So very special embalmings. Yes. See, I knew we'd get to I know my group. I knew we'd get to the gallows humor sooner or later, and it's been flowing pretty steady for a while now. so, so the paternal god or pantheon there is a plot device for eternal life. An universe created or curated by such being defies the notion of involuntary death or even harm being present. Yeah. See you later, Fred. As always, enjoyable to have you around. I see death as the final end of everything. I don't want a funeral for myself. Just cremate me and have no funeral. That's a perfectly reasonable request. I think, though, what would probably happen is they would respect that and not have an official funeral, but your family would probably still. Usually, what happens is there's something unofficial for the living. Like I know my uncle didn't want a funeral either, but they ended up making a ceremony about dropping his ashes in Lake Michigan up by the Straits. So up by the Straits where the bridge is, Mackinac Bridge is, and there was a gathering for that. So there's always the living usually always have to have something to help them deal with it, and that's usually so. In order to, I could be trying to do a living to find out their body was used to study maggot life cycles. Yeah, like there's a bunch of those around. Like there's several of them. I remember watching a documentary on one of them. And I'm like, that's kind of creepy, but I guess it has its advantages in solving crimes, which they showed how it had helped solve some crimes because they learned something about decomposition and what evidence you can get off bodies that have been decomposed for a while. It was kind of weird. Went to the original body farm. Yeah. My mom is a retired writer and wrote a book on forensic science. Oh, okay, cool. That's good. But yeah, like the thing is, Brent, and I'm getting back to Brent's comment, like I don't think I'm going to forbid them having a memorial service. In fact, I'm going to kind of request the 1 month thing, have a memorial service a month later, have myself cremated, keep the urn there, and my family can do what they want at that memorial service for the most part. It'll give them time to process it. I'm just being nice to them as a last gesture. I don't know. I've also been like Seth Andrews and said, you know what? I need to record my own eulogy. Here, you get to see me one last time, you assholes. Like, I think that's an idea I play with in my head, doing my own eulogy, seeing I have so much experience. So, let's see. I became a vegetarian for the moral reason. And for the longer I live without eating meat, the more sane it becomes. People are eating body parts or critters. Do dead composers write decompositions? Oh, thank you, Josh. I appreciate it. Appreciate it. There you go. Yeah. They do what they like with my ashes. It doesn't have no funeral. I want no have no mass or ceremony. Yeah, like if you're a former Catholic and you don't want the Catholic bullshit, yeah, I can see that. But what will happen is there'll be some informal meeting of people that cared about you at some point. There's some sort of psychological need that us humans have. I say this having watched a number of funerals in my ministry. there's a psychological need people have for closure, and that's part of it. And I think that's kind of why I want the memorial service a month later. So, oh yeah, I know. I know there might be some scientific experiments if people know what they were going to be done for. They probably wouldn't do it. So, yeah, you. Maybe we maybe. I mean, that was beautiful. I mean, this is beautiful. Josh just nailed it. I think it's a good one. Your dead composers write decompositions. Yes, that's kind of what it is. Yes, I think it's competition. It is. I mean, Evan liked it too. It's like chef's kiss there, man. So, oh, yeah, I mean, I do that a lot too. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Oh, let's see. Roman kind of the mom's asking about what happened to bodies in different jealous lover situations. Oh my gosh. Oh, Evan. All right. But yeah. No, my experience kind of shines here. There is a part of me that says, you are a YouTube guy. Why not record your own eulogy and give that from the grave? I mean, you get a chuckle out of it as you died, probably. Um, Not sure how people will react. I won't be there, but no, no. um, I've noticed something, Evan, when I read comments. Like I try to put my speed reading skills to work, and sometimes I skip over some. And it's not just yours; it's everybody's. Like I miss some because I'm trying to hit the highlights and get the main words and like try to get the gist of what the comment's about. But yes, that's actually quite brilliant, by the way, Evan. It's a brilliant comment. Jealous lover scenarios. Yeah, we could call the pontiff. Yeah, the Pope of puns. I don't know if we have a pope yet. I know I've given Evan a priesthood of puns, priesthood of puns, bun puns. That's what we're going to call them because they're bunny related puns half the time. So I know we've handled out that title. So Josh may get the second priesthood, be the second priest of bun puns. So there you go. So far, so good. Yeah. Yeah, the hair bunder. Yeah, like exactly what I'm saying. Come on. I mean, it's Fangs. It's so Fangsian. Like let's be honest, puns are just part of Fangs. I could just see Fangs. His form of humor is kind of punny, so I can see it. Josh, you get the puntive title. There you go. See, the one thing I don't understand with that is we all just die. Why not just do whatever you want to do? Good or bad, doesn't matter. I don't want to end up in jail. Like, I also don't want to do those things. Like, um, I think it would make a lot of difference right now. Like, our actions have consequences in the future. Like, anybody who studies history knows that sometimes a decision is made 100 years ago because of some other person's decision 100 years before. So, Uh, I prefer my freedom. I like doing what I want without somebody telling me what to do. Like, why would it be preferable to go to jail? Like, I'm sorry, we all have preferences. Like, there's some people I'm sure. So what? Like, I don't want to do those things. It's like the age old thing, fireman. When somebody says, "Can't you just kill and rape all the people you want to do?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I already do that, and that number is zero." Like, I don't I don't need a God to realize the value of good morals. Like, I don't. There's a practical value. Hell, Christians will preach about the practical value of morals. So will Islamic people. So will a lot of people. A lot of people will talk about the practical value of morals. So I have heard of psychopaths, and you know what? It's a very rare minority when you really think about it, but I'm not one. And there's a lot of people that aren't one, and we want to get along in society and move along. Like, this moral question comes up a lot, and it's like, do you not see the bad? But no, I can see the value of good morals just in the positive effects they have. I don't need the cops for that. So, and Josh is kind of asking the question. I'm thinking, have you ever heard of a straw man with assertions? Like, this is a classic theist straw man about how it doesn't matter to atheists if we have no morals. It's just not true. Like, it's like, yeah, it's like, I don't need the police to understand that. I understand. Yeah, it's presuppositional moralism. Cranky nailed it. Like, I've already dealt with presuppositional moralism many times. Like, quit presupposing what you think atheists be and start talking to one. If you had come, like fireman, if you had come in with a question that was more like, what do you atheists believe about morality? Okay. Instead of assuming what we believe, because that's what you did, you assumed, we could have had a great conversation about this. But as it is, it's like presuppositionalism. So, well, yeah, I like to listen to the police now and then. Yeah, they're pretty good. Sting was good in his prime. So, yeah, get better arguments. We get bored with this one. I was talking about this when I was watching somebody else's show, like I think it was Ember, and said, yeah, as long as they just don't bring up the moral argument, and I can't stand it. And then she had to come on one of my streams and joke about it, and got in the chat and said, "Hey Ed, have you ever heard about the moral argument?" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so done with that one." I mean, here's the thing, and Triple E brings up a good point. If your theology as a Christian is true, then why do you question my morality? Like, the morality is already written on my heart. So you could just say it's a demonstration of your God writing the morality on my heart. Like, the idea that somehow atheism wipes that all out from a Christian point of view is just not true. And so I've never understood the moral argument and why Christians want to do it. So it's always fun. Yes. Well, it's also the assumption of sin, Erland. Like, they assume the theology of sin is correct, and they haven't even proven that sin exists. Like, we're all corrupt, we're all evil. Like, if you have the mentality that everybody's evil and corrupt, then yeah, this is where you go. Like, if you're not one of them, this moral argument is just a great way of tribalistic thinking. Like, you end up us versus theming all the time, and that's what Fireman doesn't seem to realize he's doing. But it's so common, it does get boring. But like, no, the idea, like, I realize the benefit of morality for myself and others, and then we all benefit regardless of whether there's a threat of punishment. I can recognize the value of it and pursue good morality because it benefits everybody, including myself. And so, yeah, it just works. But yeah, but if the law is written on our hearts, I don't know where this moral argument comes from. Because why would you attack me for not having any morals when you know where they come from according to your own theology? Like, it's just really weird. Well, I don't know if we're down for playing with our food if it's the same shit. You are being helpful. Like, listen, you make a great observation. Because I really hate apologists who sit there and say, where does your morality come from? Well, I thought you already had a theological answer to that. Why do you need my answer? And I mean, you could ask me how I justify my personal morality, and that's a valid question. But where my morality comes from your point of view as a Christian and as a believer, is that God has written that on my heart. So I think that's why when they do the moral argument, they shift it up to, well, that's, you're borrowing from our morality. Like, that's where that argument comes from, but they're close. Those guys are closer to home than the person that says, "Where's my morality come from?" Like, but yes, you are being helpful because you understand something. So, quality playthings. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I just it. Yeah, I could go to something wrong to me or something else, stepping on a rake, but now to turn over this whole torture. So I guess I'm somewhat sadistic. This implies ultimate sadism. Yeah, it's my the whole thing with the moral argument. I think why most of us atheists get bored with it is we've answered it so many times, and people should know what our answer is. Like this isn't in a closet anymore. You can get online and know the responses to the moral arguments that atheists make. I've done one. Like, I think in my arguments for the existence of God, I've already done this. And I do this. How often do you think, mods? At least every 2 weeks, somebody comes in with a moral argument, at least, if not more. Um, but yeah, it's an old, tired one to me because number one, as Triple E points out, you as a theist, if you're a Christian theist and you believe the Bible, should know where my morality comes from your point of view. So you shouldn't be asking me that question that way. You could say, well, if you don't have a God, what do you base your morality on? And I can have that discussion. Like, I can talk about, rationality and human empathy and reciprocity and building a better society that's beneficial for all of us. I can talk about the economic implications on morality and all the good stuff that a social species that follows good morals and good virtues will lead you to a better place for everybody. Like, I can have that, and I don't need a God to have me understand that. I can do that. So, yeah. Yes, also glass houses, yes. Like, really, your morality is so great. So that genocide thing, that slavery thing, that exploitation of women thing, that's all good stuff for you, right? Like, like I don't know, no, no, I don't think so. Yeah, Earl, I get what you're saying. But yeah, like it's to me the moral argument is so weird when it comes from Christians because it's like, don't you know? Like, doesn't your book say? Like, doesn't your book say that? Like, it says, like, I really believe in God. I'm just denying it in my unrighteousness. Like, isn't Romans 1:18 through 23 enough for you for that question? Like, why are you asking me? Like, you already know the answer. So why are you asking me? Like, so there you go. That God needs to circumcise your heart. Also weird, but also metaphorical, but they won't even suggest that. They are unaware. At least we could work within. Like, if they worked within their theology, I would at least respect them more or believe. But when they sit here and ask me questions like that, it's like, dude, you already know, according to you, where and that's where this conversation is going to go. So why don't you just lead with that? Like, lead with that, and I'll tell you why I don't believe it. I think it frustrates them, like when they bring up Romans 1:18 through 20, that I really do believe. I'm like, well, that's how I know that the Bible's full of shit. Okay, because I got that part wrong. I really don't believe. And that's how I personally know, based on my experience, that the Bible isn't the inspired word of God, because it got that one wrong. I really genuinely don't believe in God. And Paul says I do, and Paul is wrong. And if Paul's wrong there, he's probably wrong in a lot of other places. so, so there you go. Good stuff. Yes. Yeah, alls are always more fun. That's true. But yes, or even taking your theological knowledge and trying to explain its faults. They can't even hear to their text and rely on her. Yeah, like you hear this in apologists when they argue about slavery, because they always want to say, well, it was the continued influence of Christian ideas that led to the end of slavery. I'm like, how the hell did that happen? Like, have you read your Bible? Like, it's hilarious. It's hilarious. It's like, no, there was this thing called the Enlightenment that talked about the equality of all human beings, that every human being should be treated equally and given the same rights. And suddenly we realized that was a really damn good moral idea for the most part. And all of a sudden Christianity had to adapt to that. But that's not your idea. If it was your idea from, year 34 after Jesus's death, slavery would have been anti-slavery would be a message of the church from word jump. But it's not there. So yes, a lot of people have not read their Bible. They just haven't. I mean, that was fun. Don't get me wrong. Like, people ask me if I have fun with the theists. I'm like, yeah, it was fun for about 15 seconds. Like, here we go. It's always one. And you have to respect the patience of that guy. Like, Fireman, I got to give him kudos for patience. Because on a Deconversion Hangout, you have to be at least a subscriber to the channel for 20 minutes. Like, you have to be there. And yeah, I got to give him kudos for that. Of course, it could be a bot. Like, I don't know. He seemed to kind of want to do the accusatory. I can't say for sure. And he did seem to react to me a couple of times. So maybe not a bot, but I know a couple are. So, so yes. Yeah, God doesn't send you to hell. You send yourself there, Black. Yes. Like, that's another one. Like, really? Have you read your Bible? I seem to remember Jesus on a throne saying, go to the hell prepared for the devil and his angels in one of his parables. That sure sounds like Jesus sending people to hell. Have you read your book? So, yeah, there was a little bit of, that's why I say possibly a bot. Like, because I don't know, but I think theists are doing these bots these days because bots are a safer way to evangelize when you think about it, because they're never going to give up their beliefs. Like, if I actually interact with a theist, at some point in that conversation, they'll probably say something, well, you've given me something to think about. Now, they may still stay with their faith, may not change a damn thing. But if you actually have a conversation, sooner or later, everybody has something to think about, and they'll do that. And that's why I kind of judge. I know, like, Night of Kadash either uses a bot or is one. The one guy that we had the other day was a bot because he couldn't get off the subject, kept coming back around to it no matter what we said. Yeah, it's bot behavior. Like, they don't get off. So they don't get off their subject. Yes, Black indeed. Yeah, they don't really read their Bible. Chopped down and thrown to the fire. Yes. Yeah, it's the worst timeline. Well, I think from an evangelistic point of view, Triple E, think about it. What you'll get is theists. They always come out against technology right away. Then they figure out how to use it to evangelize. Have you ever noticed that? Like, when the internet first came out, I remember all of these theists. The internet is going to be the gateway to hell. And they were the first ones to pounce on using it to proselytize. So if I was going to use an AI bot, well, the thing about an AI bot is they're going to stay on point. Like, they're going to stay on point with their message from an evangelistic point of view, me thinking diabolically like I used to as a pastor. Yeah, I can see using bots, because then like the one guy that got, like, you can literally use them to stay on point. Like, you can use a bot to stay on point with an evangelical message. They won't get off of it. You can't have a decent conversation necessarily with them. They will always just keep going around back to the beginning. They can speak for you. You can multiply yourself. Like, all of a sudden, you don't have just one bot going around talking to random people. You can literally have hundreds of bots that are exactly the same, doing the same Jesus spiel, thousands of them on every stream. It's diabolical. So, there's angels, yada, yada. Yeah. Yeah. I should argue with the idea for the Catholic Church. AI Jesus? Yes. Brilliant, Earl. I don't know. See, that's the thing. Like, Christians always decry technology until they figure out how to use it for their religion. Every flipping time. The internet, television, look at it. Television, decried. What's on television a lot? Television evangelists. Radio was the same way. Radio was decried by Christians, and then radio evangelists. Internet evangelist forums, YouTube channels, like flood the market, AI bots. I could absolutely see somebody using AI bots as a technique. I absolutely could see it. Like it's absolutely diabolical. Just create a bot and then have it multiply itself and go everywhere. So, hey, asshole, you're a little bit late because I'm about ready to roll out. So, Emma Thorne talked to AI Jesus, and it's hilarious. All right. Well, it is. I've got a half hour to get ready for work, so I gotta end this stream. But it's been hilarious. It's been great. We had some good discussions at the beginning and some hilarious discussions at the end. But I do have to run. I do have to get ready for work. It is my Friday, so I just have to get through it. And then tomorrow night, when we're going to do Mike Jones again. We're going to talk about when the Gospels were written. I'm going to do that stream. You want me to do fighting with AI Jesus? Oh, maybe I'll think about it. All right. But yeah, I do have to run. But tomorrow we'll be doing that. I'm kind of practicing and getting ready for my video series where I'm taking on that whole 6-hour chapter by chapter video of his. So there you go. All right, but thanks everybody for stopping by. I want to give a special shout out to Josh for the donation. Appreciate it. Always want to respect the people that give to this channel and help me do what I do. Appreciate it very much. So there's that. I think, is there any other announcement? Nope, not off the top of my head yet. But may Fangs nibble on all of your hearts. May he purify all of your vegetables with his sharp, pointy teeth. Even make sure maybe remove the decomposing corpses from your garden. Oh, sorry, I couldn't resist. May you do all of that. If you need warm fuzzies from your religion, all you need to do is get yourself a picture of the godlit Fangs, and you will have all the warm fuzzies you will ever need all of your life. It's just a beautiful thing on how that works. You don't even need any other religion other than this one to get the warm fuzzies. If you need a religious ritual, well, you can always circumcise a carrot and leave it on top of your stash. Like all religious rituals, results vary. We make no guarantees about this, but it might possibly cause Fangs to take the carrot instead of the stash. Maybe. maybe. Make sure you avoid the vibes and lies out there, the apologists. Watch out for those presuppositional apologists as well. And also remember, Fangs has legal means to go after your stash, so check your local laws. But thank you, everybody, for being here. Appreciate all of you, as always. Live your best life. You only get one go around and then it's over. So you want to take all your time, your money, your opportunities, and give them to yourself, the people you love and care for, to make this a better world. You'll be happier if you do. And don't waste them on the trappings of religion and faith, because that's a dead end. I speak from experience. And as always, folks, thanks for stopping by. I will catch you all next time, tomorrow, where we'll take another dip into Michael Jones on the Gospels. Should be a fun time, and I'll see you all there. Hey, thanks for sticking around to the end to find out how you can support the channel better. Of course, there's always the normal notions of just hitting that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit your notification bell, and share the video with your friends and family that you think would be interested. That's always very appreciated. If you want to support the channel in a more tangible way, there's several options. You can super chat or super thanks in the comments or during a stream. Those are always very welcome. But you also can become a member of the channel. Members have certain perks like getting the videos early, things like that. They also have some good custom emojis during chat. So all of these things are good benefits to members, but they also support this channel and its work to continue to normalize atheism and deconversion, for which I'm very appreciative. It keeps me going. and it keeps me as a content creator being able to do more and more as a content creator. So if you choose those methods of support, thank you very much, and I appreciate you once again for staying to the end and listening to other ways that you can support the channel. Appreciate it. Thanks, and I'll catch you next time.